My dog has a blanket that he brings everywhere. He will try to jump on my bed while carrying his blanket, trips over blanket and falls on the ground. Every single night. My cat jumped into my neighbor's balcony, entered their kitchen, beat up the dog, and ate their lasagne. Had to pay them for the damage. I couldn't stay angry at him for too long though. He looked so fat and happy, then he vomited under my chair on my birthday. I had a farm cat when I was a teenager that loved to climb up and sit on the roof. Problem was, he had the habit of rolling over for a tummy rub whenever he saw a person. So it was a distressingly common occurrence to walk near the house and have him roll right off the roof. You'd think after the first 3 times he'd have learned, but no. He lived a long life despite himself. So I woke up in the middle of the night to my 2 dogs barking at a cat that had gotten into the house. They'd managed to trap the poor thing in a corner, so I locked the dogs outside and heard the cat out the front door before letting the dogs back in. The idiots ran right back to the corner and kept on barking. To this day they still don't completely trust that corner. My dog once sneezed, waking himself up, and proceeded to bark at himself for a solid 10 minutes before going back to sleep. Also once when the Scooby-Doo movie was on telly, during the farting scene he went right up to the TV, then sniffed his own backside in confusion. He is not a clever animal. My cat picked a fight with a badger mom and her 2 cubs. When I saw what was going on, I went out to give my cat some backup. The badger started to growl and came at us. I grabbed the cat and noped the fuck back inside. My greyhound can't/won't push open a door that's already partway open. He will stick his head through and look at me, waiting for me to open it for him. He will wait and wait forever. Sometimes I'll look up and he'll just be standing there at the door, and I'll wonder how long he's been standing there. It's so sad. Stood by the food bowl, farted, then growled at what she thought was another dog behind her. Then when she saw her reflection in the water she jumped and hid in her basket. That was many years ago, and she is just as senile now. We were in the middle of remodeling our house and went out of town for the weekend. Got back and couldn't find the cat. I realized I had left a ladder leaned against a wall right below a fucking air duct and saw claw marks around the open duct. I instantly assumed I would be fishing a dead cat out of the wall and succumbed to my fail by slumping down against the wall, trying to figure out how to explain to my wife and 3-year-old that I stupidly led our beloved cat to his doom. About that time, the little shit pokes his head out of the duct and meows at me, wanting me to help him out. My cat wanted to go out, so I was going to open the window. At the second my hand touched the handle, the cat must have thought, oh, he touched the window, it's open now, and he jumped. Boom. Then my cat sat silently on the sofa and didn't move for the next 2 hours. One time my dog, Puppy, then ran outside, stopped in the middle of the road, and stared at an approaching car wagging his tail. When the car hit its brakes my dog rolled over like it wanted a belly rub or something. Or maybe my dog was trying to commit suicide. Who knows? My dog wanted a belly rub from a car, so that is what I know. I have a very dumb black lab/pit bull mix. He has a block for a head, as is typical for pits. One day he ran to our bay window to bark at the mailman, but misjudged the distance and broke the window with his head. It was hilarious once I ensured he wasn't hurt. Knocked over my wife's tarantula's tank in the middle of the night. We found the tank the next morning, with the top popped off, in the middle of the floor, and no spider in sight. Luckily, none of the cats got bit, and we found the little guy living happily behind the dryer 3 months later, and successfully returned him to his tank. Dog heard my stomach growl and growled back. Dog poops in yard. Seconds later, he comes to eat his meal, eats far too fast, goes back to yard and vomits everywhere on the poop, proceeds to eat everything. Well, my late lamented cat busted a few dumb things. He chased a swan. It chased him back, caught him by the leg, and gave me a hefty vet bill. He fell out of my bedroom window. Twice. Once I could excuse, but after the second time, it was easier to just keep the window closed. He sniffed a lit candle. I was right there. I saw him approaching it, but I never thought for a second he would sniff it. How wrong was I? I have a pretty big dog. Every single time he walks down the stairs he forgets to look up when he gets to the bottom and bangs his chin on the floor. Then he looks around with this shocked look, as if he has not done it a million times before. When I was young, we had an adorable, lovable, but extremely dumb standard poodle. One day, my dog saw my mum pulling into the driveway at our house from one level up. He got very excited, so he ran out onto the deck at full speed. Now, at this point we had just redone our deck so there were no railings on it. This dumb dog did not slow down at all, ran right off the deck at full speed, and dropped 15 feet to the cement driveway. We all freaked out, and were so afraid that he broke something, but he bounced right up and ran to my mum to lick her face. My cat has a tendency to open up drawers and then manage to find a way to close it while inside. Problem is he won't admit defeat and start meowing for help, so I need to eventually go on a cat hunt when I realize things are too quiet in my place. We erected a small fence in the middle of the garden, so our tortoises stay in the half that we have checked, and no, there are no holes in the fence. One of them decided to try and climb said small fence and ended up flipping itself onto its back. Then another wanders up and does exactly the same fucking thing. Had a golden retriever some years back who, despite his sense of smell being multitudes stronger and more keen than you or I, walked up to a bucket of bleach water and simply began drinking. He had plenty of clean water to drink and instead chose to drink the poison. He was fine, of course. Dogs that stupid are basically invincible. Once, my gerbil got stuck in an infinite loop. I was feeding her sunflower seeds out of my hand, and she was grabbing them to hoard for later. She'd pick up 3, reach for a 4th and drop one of the first 3. Then she'd notice the one she just dropped, go for it, and drop one of the seeds she was holding. Then she'd notice that one, and so on ad infinitum. We had a really stupid Irish setter when I was growing up that would get out of the house periodically. She loved to run, so catching her once she was out was tough. My boyfriend, now husband, came over one day and my mom was panicked because the dog had gotten out. She asked him to help catch her. Now he knew the dog had a reputation for being really stupid. She had once hit a full out point for a sprinkler. He chased her for a few blocks, but every time he would get close, she would move 10 feet away, sit down and dog laugh at him. So, he turned around and started walking backward toward her. He said he could see her reflected in his sunglasses, tilting her head one way and then the other, trying to figure out what was going on. As soon as he got to her, reached right down and grabbed her collar. Setters are such airheads. One of my cats is a wonderful idiot. He can only learn to do something if he's seen our other cat do it at least 50 times first. For example, he seemed to think that a 2 feet high baby gate had made a doorway completely impassable, despite the fact that he can easily jump 5 feet in the air if he wants. The first time he saw our other cat on the other side of it, he tried to walk through the gate instead of jumping over it and crashed into the clear plastic. My kitten almost killed himself once a day for the first 5 days I had him. He seemed to have a death wish. His behavior was incredibly impulsive and he had no concept of self-preservation. The first day, he jumped onto the lid of my open banjo case, which wobbled then slammed shut, locking him inside and nearly amputating the tip of his tail. I mean by mere millimeters he missed it. Luckily I was there to witness, or else he may have been locked away for who knows how long. The next day he climbed up the inside of a table lamp, clasping the bulb, then shoved his head out through the small opening at the top, which immediately got stuck. The lamp of course tumbled off the table, falling about 3 feet, and landing him right on his head on the hardwood floor. The third day he was in the bathroom with me and took a running jump into the flushing toilet. He was 8 weeks old and tiny, and I just barely caught him by his back legs. He was in an expertly crafted Olympic dive position, perfectly streamlined as if to make himself as small as possible. He literally would have been flushed away. On the 4th day, took a carefully planned running jump off the top of the stairs. He sat there, thought about it, posed ready for it, then ran as fast as he could. He tumbled head over heels 2 or 3 times down the flight and landed on his head again. The last heart palpitation inducing incident on the 5th day. was when I brought him over to my parents' house. My mom was giving me some food from their freezer, which was from one of those fancy fridges with a pull-out freezer on the bottom. She rolls it out, gives me the stuff, then shoves it closed. A minute later I realize my kitten is missing, and we hear desperate meows coming from the fridge. Somehow in the 10 seconds that she had the freezer drawer rolled out, he had crawled underneath the drawer and finagled himself into the space between the freezer and the fridge itself. I had to reach up underneath the drawer and pull him out through the small space. That's kind of like how the door in a vending machine works. Once you open the drawer, that space is blocked, if that makes sense. So I had to jam my hand in there and was wildly trying to grab him. I ended up yanking him out by one of his front legs, which was not fun for either of us. He was ice cold. This was all within the first 5 days. Next episode's question is, what is your biggest I didn't think this through moment? To submit your answer for a chance to be featured, use the link below.